Hey there guys, this is Cassandra. I'm a Riffle in Time and I'm so glad you're here. Today we are doing the hashtag decks I just can't put down by Fairlight Tarot. I'm excited. There's always some decks that are on my list for that I'm just like really into at the moment. I kind of like just rotate as much as I can, but right now I have 10 decks that I've just been really coming back to. So this will be definitely at least the last like month and a half, if not longer. Some of them are longer than that. They're like towards the end of last year, but I have realized some of my spring picks are coming up and always my old faithfuls. So let's get into it. The first two decks have been, now Outgrow Yourself for a couple years now has been a deck that I just can't put down. And I will always tell you how this is my everyday deck, and I mean it. So when a tag like this comes up, there's no way I can avoid, I don't know why I'm holding this like that, sorry. There's no way I can avoid mentioning it because it really is a deck that I just can't put down. I think now it's come to a point that a lot of people think of me when they think of Outgrow Yourself. And I love it. I do. I love this little deck, and I pull from it every single day. Even when I like am not in the mood for pulling a card, I'll still pull a card. Even if I don't do anything with it, I still like, it's part of my little like ritual of the day is like, at some point I have to make my way to Outgrow Yourself, or the day is not complete. It is not a new day until then. So Outgrow Yourself, my number one, I can't put down. And again, it's been a couple years now that it's really been that. And then last year, I don't know if you remember when I got Extraordinary Incantations, it stole my heart and has become, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna flip some around. But this became one of my like everyday users again. Now, it's not every single day like it is Outgrow Yourself, but it's nearly. And this is another one that was part of my everyday carry, so I really enjoyed taking this with me. It's that perfect like pocket size, and it's really like, it's just got this like really good energy, and it's like, I would read for anyone with this, and like I never would have to worry about like the kind of message we're getting. It's just like really sweet and supportive. This is one of those decks that just like in every situation, and it feels like a really good daily deck too, because it does like even the big cards in a way that you can like relate it to smaller like in the day moments versus like big huge life-changing situations. The Tower, I love. I admit defeat. I have explained how kind of like when I read these cards, a lot of the time the messages again are in like a more daily moment for me. So like I admit defeat if like I'm just having a day where it feels like I'm barking up a tree. It's like I you know, or whatever it may be, I really try to take those messages into the moment. So this deck is really good for that. And so I love to use it on the regular. I haven't been able to put it down. They are currently, I think I just got 12 or 14 in, and I didn't know I was getting the last of Chinge's stock pretty much. She posted the other day that she's out and she has a new deck coming out, so she's not going to be reprinting it anytime soon. So when it's gone, I don't know when it's going to be back, so I want to hoard them. I might have to get an extra one for myself for like that peace of mind almost. And then speaking of, this is a deck that is out of print. I hate showing out of print decks, but I had to be truthful, and the Forest Lore, since I got it in, has been a deck I've been really drawn to. And I won't spend too long because it was part of my monthly favorites, and I felt bad that like some of you wanted this deck and didn't end up getting it. I know that the current situation of this deck is that it's not going to be reprinted and the creator shop is going to be closing. So I hope that there is another time and space for them to come back. I wish I could like I wish I could just get some, you know what I mean? Like just to have some in the shop so that like everybody can still have them. I just like get how it's not always in like the decision of the creator, or that it's not in the best interest of the creator to keep doing it. So I'm sad to see it go because I really love it, and I hate sharing decks that are out of print for that reason, but I'm really happy to have it. I like the little guidebook that comes with it. It's like a little book. It's like, I don't know if you can see, it's like an actual little book, and it's just been a really good energy. I think like moving towards spring, I always get kind of in that vibe of like really the nature of it all. And speaking of spring, I have the Practical Magic starter deck here. Oh, can you see? Maybe. There we go. That's the little like fold out that comes with it. And this deck is one of my spring decks. And like pretty much spring until the like very early fall, I'm really into this deck. And again, it just gives such good spring summer energy. I don't know if it's like the bubblegum like colors. I don't know if it's like just kind of getting in the mindset of like spring and summer again. And I don't know what it is about summer, but I always go back to being like in high school a little bit. Summer just feels like being in the pool, and like I always say that this deck reminds me of being in the 90s and doing like a collage and maybe a Cosmo like quiz, and just, you know, it really just gives me that energy, and I think it's funny. But I really love this deck, and for whatever reason, again, maybe it's the colors, maybe it's its energy, but I always really get into it in the spring and summer. And the bag that's with mine, there's always like a different bag going on during the printings, but this one is like the summer fruit even. And so that's really fun. The ones I currently have, I think are like one's floral and one's like succulents. I just got a restock of this in the shop too. It's been out for a while because it was out of print, and I'm just so happy to have it back. I also, the next two, they're a pair, actually the next four, but I have two pairs here that I've been really working with, and I think I might have talked about this in one of my recent kind of journal-ish videos, like maybe my month ahead or something. I don't remember what video it was. But I was talking about how I've really loved pairing these two together since I trimmed them, and I've been doing this cool little thing. At least I think it's cool. I will show you a little from each. This is Janasa Jouse. This is a deck that I did not use until I trimmed pretty much, because it was like 2 inches bigger both ways, which is a huge amount of deck to be holding. But also it had its like titling in another language, which I also struggled with. And so I went for a full intuitive read. I read the cards as they are. And then what I'll do is I do that to pull 2 cards, one from this and one from Somnia. And I do a full intuitive read from the cards, not being concerned at all with what like the actual card is, just what I see. And then I will go and I will try to figure out what card it is and look it up if I have to. But I will get some like, I'll write down like what that card means, like what the Hanged Man represents. And then I kind of put it together into this like this third column of like, what do those things mean together? And this is the Tower in this deck. It's one of my favorite Tower cards. I just really love it. But since I've trimmed them, they've just been a pair, and I've really, really loved the practice of like making myself read more intuitively, and just, it's honestly my favorite way to read. So when I can get out of my own way and out of my head, it's like, this is a setup to do that now, and I just really love that. The next set is the creator Bakara, and they both have a separate like illustrator, but they both have one creator in common, which is Bakara, and these are her decks. This is the Way Home Tarot, and the other one is Visions in the Liminal Space, but I've been really back into the two, And I don't even, I guess, always use them together now that I'm thinking about it. So maybe they aren't a pair. Like I haven't been pulling them together frequently, but I've been pulling from them both separately frequently. Which is actually kind of weird for me because usually when I use them together, but I was talking in my monthly favorites video that I just posted about how I did my cord cutting ritual with this deck because it does have a cord cutting ritual in it, paired with like its card. I'm gonna turn these a little bit here so you can see, but I always really love their energy. I've talked before about how like I've watched Bakara over the years read with these a lot through her like Sunday readings she does on IG, and I have a lot of like readings that taught me a lot, and I had a lot of breakthroughs with these decks, so I think they feel like home, and I really love them. And if you don't know, I have a card from Visions tattooed on me. It was my first tattoo. I'm going to finish this arm one day, and it's going to be a full sleeve, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the cards like falling in like different orientations, like wrapping around my arm. And actually, one of the cards I've considered to do that, I have two options from Way Home. So maybe if you're still here, tell me what I really love the Empress from here, and I really love Strength as well. Those were two of the ones I thought about from Way Home, but I wanted to do a card from like my bigger decks, like the ones that I just can't put down back to the tag, you know. But it's funny because that really is, this is a deck I just can't put down. It's physically attached to me. Visions. Next up is Apparition. So Apparition, I got when I got the restock of Iris. I got an Apparition in the shop, and it was the one I talked to you guys about last year that I was really interested in getting in the shop, and I asked your opinion, and everybody seemed to think that was a good idea. I'm glad I did because I'm obsessed with it. I think that Mary's decks just read very their own, like Spirit Speak decks are just their own vibe, and I absolutely love them. They just are all like really feel good decks for me. So like Iris and Vessel are two other decks that I really enjoy using, and that are also their Oracle decks from the same creator. And I just dig it. I don't know. It always feels like the readings feel really spot on too, which is always like when I get with a deck and we're just like really clicking, it feels like, how can you put a deck down that you just are really clicking with? You know what I mean? This deck's a little harder. Actually, these two decks here are a little harder to use as frequently because of their size. They really do give my hands an extra work. Oracle size cards are always going to be a little harder for me in like shuffling terms. So sometimes, like with Ritual Tarot, the next one, I don't even just pull a card. Like I won't shuffle them. I'll just like pick a card out and I will like journal what I'm feeling, like what's coming up. I want to do a guided meditation with this deck. I think it's going to be really cool. I did some practice where I didn't do like the whole meditation, but I did some starting of like what it might sound and feel like, and I just thought it was a cool idea. So I might be sharing that on the channel soon. Not the first one, because again, I didn't finish it, but it's something different to do with the decks, and I always love to explore new ways to like add them into my practice, to spend time with them, because I'm not somebody who can just like do constant readings for myself. Like I know that some people will pull like, or there's even times where I do pull a lot of cards. Like I'm just really like in that place, but sometimes I'm just not there. And so I love to use them in different ways when I'm not there. And journaling is another like big way. I love to like turn it into something else. So I'm obsessed with this deck though. I just can't get enough of it. I could look at it all the time. And I don't even know. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but I want my mouth, like my mouth feels like it needs to be like, while I'm looking at it, like just wide open, like drooling maybe. I don't know. It's just, I think it's beautiful. I think it's really provoking, which I love. I love that it doesn't have the titles. I do have the marked edition, so if you do want to find the title, it's on the back. I love that. It's actually why I backed the Kickstarter for the shop, because I really loved the idea of the creator staying like true to their vision and not putting titles on it, but also like listening to people who were asking for titles, and then they found a way to like weave in the titles and the cards, and it's just brilliant. And the images, again, brilliant. I think she's coming out with an Oracle deck soon. I think it's like in the works. So I'm really excited about that. But those are the decks that I just can't put down. Oh, that's funny. Oh, but my last two cards. I've been pulling from them a lot. So here they are. The proof. The proof is in the pudding. And you probably saw a lot of those decks as well in my recent videos, in my journaling. I will always kind of have like certain decks like Energy Archaeology and Gentle Tarot. I journal a lot with them. But this tag felt different. This felt like decks that I'm just really like, about. So I stayed true to that. But I do have other decks that I'm using like even a couple times a month, just regularly. But these are ones that like I've just been really super drawn to. The only other one that I almost added, but I wanted to keep it to 10, is Fifth Spirit. I've been back in a kick with Fifth Spirit since I did the Everyday Carry video, or maybe it was the video before that. I just got really excited and I got it back out again. And I just think it's one of those ones that also is like really cool for like a daily read. I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels more like of the surroundings I'm thinking about. I don't know. It's just like, I think it's the miners really. They are just made of like things that you see on a regular basis. So it feels like really like comforting kind of in that way. I've always had kind of that disconnect with decks where like it's very kind of like medievally or like kings and queens and things, because it just doesn't feel very relatable to how I feel. I know a lot of people are really, really into that kind of historical vibe, but it's just not always been something I've been able to connect really well with. So finding decks that have things that are more like modern and like in my circle of things around me has been really cool. But yes, anyways, I love you. Thank you for being here. I'm also I might even just like stop this recording and go to the next one and do decks that I just can't pick up. Let's do that.